everyone, and welcome back to our lessons about time. For today's lesson, you'll need a pencil and paper, and you will also need the clock that you made in yesterday's lesson. Let's have a look at our vocab. So a clock is the thing that we use to tell the time. The hands are the parts of the clock that move around. There are two hands, a long hand called the minute hand, and a short hand called the hour hand. An hour is a unit of time. There are 24 hours in a day, and on a clock there are 12 hours. Minutes is a unit of time smaller than an hour. There are 60 minutes in an hour. Seconds are a unit of time smaller than a minute. There are 60 seconds in a clock. 60 seconds in a minute. Sorry about that. An o'clock is a time, and this is what we're going to be learning today. When it's the o'clock, the big hand is always at 12. So every time that we look at today, the big hand is going to be at 12. So, who can remember, what do the big hands and the small hands mean on a clock? The big hand shows us the minutes, and the small hand shows us the hour. Very good. So we were looking at the o'clock. When the big hand is at 12, we call it the o'clock. Very good. 12 o'clock. So if this is an o'clock, we now need to look at the small hand to tell us which o'clock it is. So the small hand is pointing to 1. Very good. So it is 1 o'clock. So again, the big hand is the minute hand. It tells us how many minutes past or to the next hour. And the small hand is the hour hand. It tells us which hour it is. So we need to look at both of the hands to find the time. So for o'clock times, the minute hand will always be on 12. Very good. What will happen to the hour hand and minute hand when it moves to the next hour? So as the minute hand moves around the clock, the hour hand will also move around the clock, but it will move a lot slower. So the big hand will move all the way around the clock until it gets back to 12. And when this big hand gets back to 12 again, this small hand will only have moved to 2. So the big hand does a lot of moving. The small hand only does a little bit of moving. The big hand moves every, what's it called? The minute hand or the hour hand? The minute hand. Very good. The big hand moves every minute, and the small hand only moves every hour. So we have two clocks here. Which clock shows 7 o'clock? So remember, the big hand will be at 12, and for 7 o'clock, the small hand will be at 7. Very good. Which one is 7 o'clock? Very good. The other clock shows what time? Big hand at 12 means it's o'clock. Small hand at 2 means it's 2 o'clock. Very good. Our next clocks now, here we have a strange one, because on the clock on the left we have big hand at 12, small hand at 6. The clock on the right, it looks like it only has one hand, but really that is because both hands are pointing to 12. So big hand at 12, small hand at 6 means it is 6 o'clock. Big hand at 12, small hand at 12 means it is 12 o'clock. So our question is, which clock shows 6 o'clock? Very good. The clock on the left shows 6 o'clock. What time is shown? So let's have a look at the left. We have big hand at 12, small hand at 5. What time do you think that is? Big hand at 12, it means it's o'clock. Small hand at 5 means it's 5 o'clock. Very good. Let's have a look at the clock on the right. Big hand at 12, small hand at 1. What time is it? Big hand at 12 means it's the o'clock. Small hand at 1 means it's 1 o'clock. Excellent. Okay, let's have a look at these questions. Question 3 and 4, I'd like you to do by yourself. So on your paper, you can write question 3 and question 4. Have a look at the times and write them down. Now remember, you have to write o'clock after the number. If you just write a number, that's not a time. You have to write the o'clock. So have a look at question 3 and question 4 and write down what time you see. Here is question 5 and question 6. I'd like you to write down what time you can see on the clock in question 5 and in question 6. Now what I want you to do, I would like you to make a video showing me these times with your clock. So you're going to make a video showing me 7 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Okay, a video showing me those times. So there's going to be a paper with your answers and a video with you showing me your times. Now let's have a look here at Dom. Dom says, I have shown 2 o'clock on the clock. What mistake has Dom made? So remember, big hand at 12 means it's the o'clock. Have a look at Dom's hands. Does this show 12 o'clock? No, it does not. Dom has confused his minute hand and the hour hand. The minute hand should be on 12 and the hour hand should be on 2. So big hand should be on 12, small hand should be at 2. He got them the wrong way around. Now our last question, if it is 4 o'clock, the minute hand is pointed at 12, very good, it's an o'clock. And the hour hand is pointed at what for 4 o'clock? 4, very good. If it is 9 o'clock, the hour hand is pointing at 9 and the minute hand is pointing at 12, very good. Remember, the hour hand is the small hand and the minute hand is the long hand. So today's work was your answers, which you can take a picture of and upload to Class Dojo, and your video showing us the time on your clock. So 2 pieces of work today. Now I know that's quite a lot, but we have quite a lot to do for time. So I just need to see your answers and your video. So I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you again next week when we'll continue talking about time. Bye everyone.